Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how I edit drums, and this is a song called Lost Count, and I'm going to also include the drum tracks in the description so you can download them yourself. And these drums are not edited, so you can practice along. You can use the tracks to first practice editing the drums, and then you can use them to mix the drums and practice. And I'll put out some other videos also where I show you how I mix drums. So this video today, all I'm going to do is just show you how I edit drums using Pro Tools. And the way I edit drums is by using slip editing. I have the track loaded up here, the grid. I like to keep it at 8th note. Okay? Make sure that this is selected here. And we have to also group all the tracks. So let's select that. So I have kick in selected. I scroll down, shift, click, and then I have them all selected. So I have all the tracks selected, as you can see here. Then I'm going to do Command G for create group. Then I name it drums. And then what I do also in the global, the only thing I like to have checked is solos. I don't check anything here. I just have that. This is just so I can group them together. I click OK. As you can see over here is grouped together. And then if I click anywhere on the track, you'll see that it is all the tracks are selected. All right. Then I'll come back over here, unselect this, just hold down Alt, and I'm using a Mac, so hold down Alt or Option, click, and there everything is unselected. All right, so now I am ready to edit these drums. Also make sure that tab to transient is enabled, okay? And I'm ready to edit drums. Also make sure that this is selected as well. I use all three of these things here. Okay. All right, so let's zoom in and here where the drums begin. Okay, and as you can see, there's a kick here. Okay, you can see a snare top here, but let's listen to what's going on. Okay, so all I'm looking at are the kicks, snare top. Don't worry about the snare bottom because it is a lot of tracks, so it could be confusing. But all I focus on is this track, the kick track, the snare top, and then toms when I see some tom hits, like over here, okay, here and here. So this will probably be the first one that I'll look at. Okay, all right, so let's get started. So this is how I edit drums using slip editing. Okay, I zoom in, and then I see if the hit is close enough to the grid. For example, this one is. Okay. So I leave it alone. Then I'll go to this next one. This one looks early, so I will definitely fix this one. Okay. So then I hit tab on my keyboard until I line up right to the beginning of the transient. Okay, see right there. And then I will now hit B on the keyboard to cut. And then using my, what's it called? Grabber? I think it's called grabber. Yeah, the grabber tool. Okay, I bring it down here. So if I bring it up here, then now it's the selection, right? And that's what it's called, I think. Select the tool, right? So on the upper half of this track right here is the select tool. Here's the grabber tool. So I go down to the grabber tool, I click and hold, and then I move it onto a snaps. And that's it. So it's not that hard editing. It's just, you just have to practice. It takes a lot of practice. And you'll run into some parts where you're not sure if whether to cut here or to move it or to leave it alone. And we'll go over that in a few minutes. All right, so that looks good. Okay, so if I play it real quick for you, you're gonna hear the following. Now, obviously, there's a gap here. That, do not worry. We're going to take care of that at the end. All right. All right. So let's continue. As you can see, the drummer was pretty spot on to here. Okay. So this looks okay, but let's just for the sake of this tutorial, let's fix this. So I'm going to hit B. I'm going to go and grab, click and hold, and then drag it back. and that's it. Okay, then I go to the next one. B, click and hold, snap, and that's it. And then I keep going. Okay, this one looks good. This one can use some work. B, click and hold, move back, move on to the next one. And you'll see that with practice, you'll get much faster. And then within an hour, you can do a whole song. You can edit the whole drum tracks. B, snap, and so far. And the way I'm scrolling from left to right is I'm holding down shift on the keyboard and using the scroll wheel. Okay, if I let go of shift on the keyboard and I use the scroll wheel, then it scrolls up and down. Okay, cool. So let's continue. Okay, that one looks good. That one looks good. This one looks late. Snap back. This one looks good. This one is definitely early. So let's fix that. Okay. Okay, this one looks good. This one is late. Okay, this one is early. Okay. And here we have our first time hit, but you can see that because I grid this, it's pretty spot on. Okay, so just gonna go back and play it from where I started. Okay, just so you can kind of hear it. Sounds good. Awesome. Cool. So let's keep going. This looks good. Oh, this looks good. Over here, I'll fix that. B. And see how fast I'm beginning to do this. Okay. Here's a time hit. So let's fix this one. You see a time hit is early. So let's tab. And there. Okay. And then what I do is I do Command S. I do that a lot throughout, and that just saves it as I go through. I'll probably fix this one. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, this one is early. Okay. This one looks good. Here's another time hit. That looks good. This looks good. Okay. Like I said, this drummer is really good. Okay, but every drummer needs a little help. So that's what we're doing here. You want these tracks to sound professional. You want these tracks to kind of stand along with what's out there today, and especially in a hard rock setting, you definitely have to edit drums. All right, this one is late. Tab, B, slide. Okay, and now here we finally have a snare. Okay, so now I'm gonna focus on the kick and snare. Okay, so let's listen to this. Okay, cool. Let's continue. Now this drummer, he's flamming. That means kick and snare at the same time. So whenever you see that, now when a drummer flams, it's never perfect. Either the kick will be first or the snare will be first. It's never perfect. As you can see right here, the kick is first. In this case, what I tend to do is I tend to favor the snare. So I will move the snare. Some engineers, they'll straddle. So for example, let's do this right now. So I'm going to hit B, and you can see that it didn't go to the grid, right? So what I do is I hit, I hold down Command, and then I click on where I want to make the cut, and I press B. Okay. So as you can see right here, let me just go to slip real quick and zoom in a little bit more. We have this space between the kick and the snare, right? So what some engineers do, they'll straddle it, okay? They'll bring it like that, like halfway, okay? I don't do that. And then I snap. There we go. Much better. All right, here, so let's continue. Okay, so let's fix this one. Right. Snap. This looks good. This looks good. This looks good. It's good enough. Maybe this one can fix a little bit. Okay. This one probably fix a little bit. There we go. Okay, this looks good. This is good. Okay, I can probably maybe fix this one here. Okay. cut, right? This tab, cut that one, and let's move on. All right, and now we have what looks like a snare roll here. Let's listen to this. Okay, so in this case, what's happening is, it's the end of a section, and then this one starts again. Maybe it's verse 2, maybe it's the chorus, maybe it's the pre-chorus, but here's definitely something. And you can tell that it's early, so we definitely have to fix this. However, it depends. Since it's part of a roll, sometimes I'll fix it, sometimes I won't. Because there are some 16th notes here going on. I'm going to just switch the grid to 16th notes, and so I can take a better look at what's going on. All right, so you can see this one looks good. This one is a little early, so he's rushing. So the drummer is kind of rushing here, see? And it doesn't quite fall on the beat, and it takes him a second to kind of get back on the click. All right, so in this case, you have to make a decision. And what I would do is I would probably fix this section here and see how it sounds. So I will just tab, cut. And because I did that one cut, now he's on time. He comes back on to the click. And let's take a listen. Okay. Now you could, if you want to make it super, super tight, you could do this. You can cut it here. Snap. Well, that's first we have to undo this part. Let's cut, 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 and then cut this one. Okay, and let's take a listen. Now you can do that. It's up to you. Okay. Now this sounds good too, and it definitely sounds like it's right on the click. Okay, so let's leave it. Just for this one, let's leave it. And let's continue. I'm gonna just continue until I get to a tom roll, and then I'm gonna show you how I put everything together, like how I finish this. I'm not gonna do the whole song. You can do the whole song. You can practice doing it, but and I suggest that you do the whole song, because the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And that's really what you want to do. You want to practice. And that's why I offer these drum tracks, these unedited drum tracks, so that you can practice. So, okay, let's continue. I'm just going to skip this until I see some sort of a tom roll. And this one over here. So let's just jump over here, okay? And let's fix this here. Okay, let me just fix this one. Okay, and let's listen. Okay, cool. So what I would do here is I would probably fix this one. Let's see. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so get a better idea of what's going on here. So I'll fix that. And that fixed this snare hit right here. This tom, it's a little bit early, and then this is definitely, as you can see, he rushed the tom fill here. So I would probably, let's cut it. Let's fix that one. Let's fix that one. Then we definitely have to fix this one. Have to fix this one. And it looks like there's 3 tom hits here. Okay, cool. So this looks good enough, but then we definitely have to fix this one. So let's just fix this kick. And we added, let's just fix there. Okay, cool. So now let's take a listen. All right. Other than the clicks and pops, which we're going to fix in a second, that sounds tight and it sounds good. Let's listen to it again. All right, so now let's pretend that we edit everything, right? Everything is edited. So what I do next is I will make a copy. And since everything is grouped, it made a copy of everything. I make a copy, but then I go back to my original because I want to keep everything like this. Sometimes I'll get tracks to mix and I'll have this, and that's because they make copies and copies and copies of it. The way I do it is when I'm tracking is I'll make copies, but I'll go back to the original and I'll keep working on that. So in case if I need to grab something from another playlist, now I have it. All right. Okay. So now click, click, click. So triple click and it selects everything, but you have to make sure that you are in the selector section. See, earlier I tried to triple click from the grabber. Sometimes you forget which one is which. And if I double click, I can rename the clip here, but that's not what I want. What I want to do is I want to select from beginning to end. Okay, now everything is selected. Okay, so now I said earlier, I don't use Beat Detective. I kind of do, but just for this. I don't use Beat Detective to help me edit drums. What I use it for is to help me consolidate the drums. And I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm going to go to Event, click Beat Detective. Okay, and here is my Beat Detective. Okay, everything is selected. See, okay, so I'm going to, let's switch it to, I'll leave it at 16, doesn't matter. Capture. Okay, so now it captures everything. Okay. And I just stick to the edit smoothing. So what I want is to fill and crossfade. And crossfade at 5 milliseconds, 7 milliseconds is okay. 5 milliseconds, let's do 7. Okay, 5, 7 is okay. And then I'm going to click smooth. And what's going to happen is it's going to fill these gaps and then it's going to crossfade. So I'm going to click. And it did it. So now if I zoom in, let's zoom in over here because there was a lot of editing here. Let's zoom in. And you will see the crossfades. Okay. We're not done yet because you want to do this professional. You want to do it the right way. You don't want to rush this. So what I do is after all this is done, I will go back and check each crossfade. I know that's a lot, but you'll get fast at this. Okay. And what I do is I also go back to slip here. Okay. Because what I'm looking for is sometimes you'll see this. Okay. And I want to fix that. Sometimes you'll see it. Okay. And it depends. You'll see this. Okay. If you had to pull back, if you had to move forward, it's okay. But if you had to move forward, you'll see this. Okay. But that one is good. And then what I do is just scroll. Okay. See this one? I may just move it a little bit. There. Okay. That's good. See how it shows up there? So that's what you want to avoid. Sometimes you'll see some of that. Okay. And you don't want those artifacts. Okay. Good. Okay. I can probably make it a little smaller. Yeah. See here, I may fix that. Put it there. Okay. This one is good because if I move it forward, see what happens. So can't do that. Okay. This one's good. I may move it back a little bit. Okay. And yeah, you got to be careful that you don't move everything. You just move the crossfade back a little bit. There you go. Okay. That looks good. Remember, the crossfade has its place here because we had to move this so much. Okay. All right. Let's continue. And like I said, it could be a little time consuming, but it is a good step to do. Okay. Now here we were looking at the tom, right? So you see tom. Okay. So it's in a good place. Okay. Now, if you did it right, you're not going to find too many. You may find one or two. And if you let it go, it's not terrible because when you add all the other instruments and the mix is dense, you're not really going to hear it. But again, you want to do it right because eventually you're going to do this for a client and you want to get paid and you also want to have a good reputation. You want the band or the artist to come back to you, yeah, because you did such a good job. All right, cool. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look over here. See how it overlaps here a little bit? So just fix that a little bit there. That looks good. Okay. That looks good. looks good. Okay. All right. So here we did a lot of editing. So let's make sure that nothing is overlapping. Okay, that looks good. Over here, let's fix that. All right, cool. That looks good. Let's fix this one. Let's take a look at this one. All right, so you get the idea, okay? I'm not going to go through all of them, but let's just say that. So now everything is fixed. There's one last thing that well, not last, but another thing that I do now is I listen. Okay, so let's take a listen. Let's go for a section that had a lot of stuff going on, like maybe over here. Okay, let's take a listen from here. Okay, that sounds good. Let's listen to this because there was a lot of editing here. Okay. Awesome. That sounds great. Sounds good. So let's pretend that we went through the whole thing. We listened to the whole thing. Everything sounds great. I don't hear any pops, any clicks, no artifacts. You don't hear any artifacts or anything like that. Usually you hear it in the overheads or cymbals, but it sounds good. So let's move on to the next step. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make another copy. Then I go back. And then I will select everything again. And I will do Shift Option 3. And there we go. And there we have our edited drums. And that's it. That's how I edit using slip editing. And what I do is when I'm tracking a band, I'll track drums, right? And then after I finish tracking drums, I'll tell the band or the drummer and the rest of the band, go take a break, either go get lunch or go hang out. And I stay behind and I edit the drums. I edit drums before I do any more tracking because I want the rest of the band to track against the edited drums. I don't wait till everybody finishes tracking and then start editing. No, I edit the drums right after I finish tracking. We'll have the drummer come in. We'll pick the best takes. We'll comp the drum tracks, and then I edit. And within the hour, maybe less, if a 3-minute song, 4-minute song, it'll be ready. We'll take a quick listen. Everybody's happy, and then we move on with the recording process. All right, so I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or anything, please leave a comment below. I definitely read all the comments, and I definitely answer all the comments as well. And if you want these tracks, you can download them for free. The link is in the description. Just download them for free, and then you can practice. Because I know there aren't a lot of drum tracks out there, real acoustic drum tracks, where you can practice editing drums. Usually if you are practicing mixing and you download a mix, all the drums are already edited. So you can't practice unless you have the opportunity to record a lot of drums. You can download them for free, practice with them. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please stick around, like and subscribe so you can check out some of my other videos on when it comes to drum editing and drum mixing. Take care.